What's up, guys? Mindless again. Wanted to share a couple more pieces out of the collection, and this is pretty cool. Something I've been working on for a few months, actually. I'd say half of the past year, trying to get this pair of knives together, and with the help of Sako once again from Recon One, I was able to make it happen. So I'm stoked to share it with you guys, and I think it's something pretty rare and pretty special. And what we're looking at is the work of Walter Randolph once again. If you look back, I did a video on a kickstop Wyvern. Today we're looking at a model, it's basically Walter's Persians. And these are two exceptional examples, and I had to share them with you since they are a pair. They're essentially the same materials, but they were built at different times. And I don't think they were intended to be a pair, but once I saw that they were getting done, you know, it had to happen, and I'll kind of share with you how it came about. So obviously here's the small Persian, the large Persian. Let's just start with the small. And this is how it began. I received this piece from Sako shortly after the gathering. And to be honest, I don't know if this piece was there or how he came to get it. But nevertheless, once he showed me it, I had to jump on it, and it is a beauty. What you're looking at is full dress, full timascus handles, and I believe the steel is the same on both. It's PSF 27. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the craftsmanship, again, this is where Walter really kind of takes off. If you look at it, pivot collar is stippled timascus, back spacer as well as the pocket clip. So all timascus, different textures. It is a liner lock. You can see the engagement on the little guy is perfect. I mean, it's perfect, honestly, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. Flipper, amazing, amazing action. Just exceptional work by Walter, and it's even more obvious in the large piece. And this piece was just recently made, and I had a chance to grab it to complete the pair, and I did. And again, liner lock, full white timascus, stippled clip, and pivot collar, the custom pivot, floating stippled timascus backspacer. You can kind of see how it's floating. But guys, just an amazing, amazing piece, both of them. And I wanted to start by saying, you know, Walter's work, I've owned knives from Walter over the last couple of years, basically since he kind of came on the scene. It was guys like GKTII. I'm sure you know his channel if you're into not watching knife videos. It's been a while since he posted, but you know, he kind of came on the scene pretty strong and gathered a big following very quickly, and it's well deserved. You know, Walter's work is exceptional. Centering it's everything you would expect out of this level of custom knife. But recently, I can say without a doubt, his work has really, really tightened up, and I would put this up against Rexford or any other knife maker, Barker, Lee. He's up there with those guys. The craftsmanship is amazing. Truly, truly amazing. Normally, my favorite model from him is the Wyvern, but there is no denying how beautiful these things are. I mean, look at this knife, guys. It's just stunning. Stunning. And I'm not going to carry these. These are like fingerprint magnets. It would be a shame to kind of mar up this blade or these handles, but nevertheless, for collecting, tactical, bordering on art, this is it right here for me, guys. I think this is really Walter at his finest, and I had to share it with you guys. So let's talk a little bit about the pieces and specifics about them. So we'll start. I think we'll just, since they're effectively the same, we'll look at the big guy. This was made actually just a couple months back, delivered to Sako, and then I picked it up off of him. So Recon One contacted me and said that this piece was coming directly to them, and that, you know, Sako knew I had the little guy, so he's like, this is the pair that you were looking for, and I jumped all over it, obviously. Check out this blade. For a Persian, absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes you'll see a much more aggressive, upswept kind of Persian. This is not that. This is just a little bit more tactical, I think. It's a much straighter Persian style, but nevertheless, it is a Persian style blade, and it is absolutely gorgeous. You're looking at a hand rubbed satin. See if the light can kind of see the marks. Executed perfectly. I mean, it's just perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Perfect. And moving on to the handles is when you start to really notice the difference. This is something called white timascus, and honestly, I didn't know the difference. But once it's anodized, the colors that you get, they're just vibrant as hell. You could see he went with the stippling on the pivot collar. Pay attention to the tolerances there. I mean, it is absolutely perfect. The spacing is perfect. A beautiful custom pivot. Even with the hardware showing, it's beautiful. Nothing about this I would change. Absolutely nothing. Contoured. It is a heavy piece. I don't own the scale, but I can tell you now it's a substantial weight. But I think it's kind of what you want on a dress piece, this beautiful. It is thick, but you know, not RJ or anything like that. It's a very carryable piece. And I actually would probably carry this guy before, just because it's a little smaller and easier to pocket. But nevertheless, I mean, guys, this is just stunning, stunning work. You know, after talking to Recon One and Walter, he's not going to be doing the minis, so the mini Wyvern, the mini Persian. The only place you're going to be able to get these are like open bids at shows or auctions. He's not really, as of now, he's not going to be making orders of these, especially the dress models for the minis. So I'm very fortunate to have this piece in the collection. I mean, you can always get on his books. If you're on his books, you can order a full dress, whatever you want. But according to both Sacco and Walter, they're not going to be doing the minis. So just stoked to have it in the collection. Everything's exactly the same between the two, just shrunken down. Same finishes, same hardware, just stunning, stunning work. Absolutely perfect. And the action is just perfect. It is like, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, the word hydraulic comes to mind, but you hear that all the time, and you hear people even describing Spydercos that way. It is hydraulic. There's a positive resistance. The blade isn't going to fall. You know, you can wiggle it down, but you can hear as the detent re-engages in the closed position how mechanical it is. It's even kind of a little louder on the large piece. Perfect, guys. Just absolutely perfect. And if you look at the two together, you can get a feel for the size difference. I mean, we're looking at a considerable difference. So specifically, the little guy is cutting edge, or the blade length is 3 inches. The overall length is 7.5 inches. So it's not that small, to be honest with you. The large guy is 3 3/4 on the blade and 8 3/4 overall length. So about an inch overall length difference, and about 3/4 of an inch to an inch at difference in blade. But guys, just, I mean, right? You don't need to be a collector to appreciate what you're looking at here. This is just stunning. And I think these two pieces with my kickstop Wyvern pretty much complete my Walter collection for now, until I can maybe get a dragon skin Wyvern or something. And, you know, who knows? He comes up with a new model. But right now, I am extremely, extremely happy with where I am as far as WR Bladeworks in the collection. And these two are absolutely stunning. And in hopes to kind of convert my collection to more dressier pieces or rarer pieces, I think this represents it perfectly. And the collection's shrinking. I mean, by no means is it a small collection, but compared to where I started with, you know, when I made the decision about a year ago to kind of go after the rarer stuff, I was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 200 pieces. Today I'm down to about 70 or 80 pieces, and most of them are in this level, quality or rarity, beauty. They're at this level, and I'm still not done. You know, I'm actively going after Rexfords and Barkers. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see knife picks almost daily, every other day, and you kind of get an idea more of my collection in it. And just so you know, it's mindlessmark07 on IG as well. These two are just stunners, honestly. I find myself, when I go to the collection, grabbing this guy, believe it or not, the little guy, and just incessantly flipping it, because it's just such a satisfying, you know, feeling. Even the way the lock bar engages, it's mushy and nice. It's got that right feeling. There's zero grind against the tang. The grind is just stunning. If you look at the plunge, perfectly symmetrical. Swedge is beautiful. I mean, even the Maker's Mark etching is perfect. There's no overrun or ghosting. It's nice and dark, sterile on the other side. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. Now, the steel that's used on these is something called PSF 27, and I've heard it, you know, I've seen it on the forums and stuff like that, but I've never owned a piece made of that steel, and it's a little different. It's mostly compared to like D2. It's a tool steel, but you know, reading forums and kind of what different makers feel about the knife, it tends to hold an edge very well. It's difficult, according to the forums, to get this perfect satin finish, but when it's there, it's just gorgeous. It is a tool still, so you got to be careful. It can stain if you're cutting citrus and stuff like that. You could mar the blade just a little bit, but again, you could always finish it and get rid of any surface stains. It's basically done using something called spray forming, and the way I understand it, it's a little different than particle metallurgy. So they actually melt down the steel and it's sprayed into a mold, and what happens, according to the website, is because it's done that way, it's got a much tighter, smaller bonding between the molecules, so it theoretically should perform better, hold an edge longer. It is a better steel than D2. Now, is that true or not? I don't know. Does it hold an edge well? I don't know. I'm not going to use these to be cutting rope and testing that. The most action these two knives will ever see, I promise you, is envelopes and maybe a couple boxes. And I'm not even cutting cardboard. I might cut the tape on a box. So, yeah, I'm not carrying these pieces. I've carried this on like a couple occasions where I was like dressed to the nines, and you know, I wanted to have a piece in my pocket like I always do, and mainly because I knew I was going to be around other knifey people, and this is the kind of piece that just sparks such interesting conversations. Additionally, I wanted to kind of share the level that Walter's at. You know, I think a lot of people have recognized Walter for his skill right from the go, right from the jump. But honestly, I mean this honestly, and I'm not by any means the expert of knives, so take it for what you will. This is just my opinion from someone who does own Rexfords and has handled, I've probably had a dozen Rexfords go through my collection, so I know them well, and I probably have 20 kickstops from Lee from collaborating with every maker under the sun. And I'm telling you right now, Walter is at a level where I would put him up against the top tactical makers. I consider him one of the top 5 tactical makers out there. He absolutely rivals Rexford, Gus, Lee, Barker. He's at that level, hands down. No doubt about it anymore. You know, his older knives, the original knives that I had, you can pick them apart. They're not issues, but, you know, they were 99.9%. These two are 100% perfect. There is nothing, literally nothing I can pick apart. The anodizing on the white timascus is perfectly even. Sometimes you'll notice like lighter, darker spots, white spots. Not the case here. Absolutely perfect. The stippling is perfect. I mean, let's see if we can get this to really focus on it. I mean, almost getting to that like hot hammered action, but it's stippled. Look at the pivot collar. Notice the tolerances between the pivot and the pivot collar, and in the handles and the pivot collar. Let's see some light on it. There you go. Just stunning. The pattern that he chose, perfect. The hardware holding the timascus scales to the body, to the frame, countersunk and contoured. If you look closely, they are rounded as the screw goes in. Flush, perfect. The pocket clips on the standoff, very similar to Rexford technique. Just absolutely perfect. He did such an outstanding job. I had to share it with you guys. Just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And oh man, I can't get enough of these two, and I wanted to share them with you. I tried to do the video last week. I actually recorded the video for this piece by itself, and then shortly after that, I found out this was on its way to me, so I just didn't post it. I thought I'd put them together because it's just so awesome to see a matching pair at this level is rare, guys. It's something that I would go after. Like, you know, I have the dress ruiner from Kendrick with the kind of streetable, carryable ruiner, and that's great, but they're not matching pairs. It's different. You know, I think the only other matching pair I have here in my collection are Rexford. I have a few hot hammers, and those work together. Also from Blunt, I got the full Zerka tie, and I did videos on all those too, so if you look back, you'll see them. But anytime you can get the matching pair, in my opinion, in collecting, it's something wonderful and amazing, and you really could get to admire the work, and it's when you know you're kind of not done, but you know you're hitting that level with that maker where you're good. And I feel that way now, and I hope you guys can see the beauty. I hope it's translating in the video. The pattern is different between the two if you look closely. However, in the strangest way, it's like this is just a smaller version of the same pattern here. When he anodized, because they were done at different times, obviously he didn't make them at the same time, purple is the predominant color here, while blue is here. And it's almost flip-flop, like blue is the base color with purple, and this is purple with blue. I love it. You know, I can't get enough of it. I absolutely love it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Just stunners. Let's take a look at it. Let's flip this guy a little bit, because I think you need to hear that, how positive the engagement is. Just absolute stunners. Walter just killing it, killing the knife game. Like we knew he would. I mean, no doubt about it, right? Since the first second he busted on the scene. His pieces are amazing. I had a chance to chat with him for a while over at TKI last year, and you could tell this guy takes it seriously. He's pushing forward with his skills. He's trying to master different skills, and every piece coming out thereafter is just kicking it to another level. If you look on his Instagram or his videos, I mean, he's got that dragon skin stuff dialed in. My last video was on the dragon skin sigil. Imagine this with dragons. I mean, right? It's just bananas, and I'm kind of actively trying to go after it and get one. So hopefully I'll be able to share. I'm looking for specifically a wyvern in dragon skin, but you know, if it takes a year or two, I don't care. It's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. And these two, the chase for this, these two to be in the collection was one of the funnest chases I've had in the knife collecting game. So anyway, this video is running long, forgive me, but there's a lot to look at here, a lot to admire, and Walter once again just knocking home runs left and right. So guys, thanks for stopping in, watching the video. We're looking at the two matching dress Persians from Walter Randolph and WR Bladeworks. You know, I appreciate you guys always watching the vids. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and let me know. You know, it lets me know that you're interested. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I do my best, my absolute best to reply to every single comment. And I appreciate you guys taking the time once again. Ooh, sick, right? Beauties. But I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy.